Hi there, why don't you come on in and take a look at my space. This is my bedroom, but it's where I do most of my work and where I store all my work. All my work, when it's not being shown in a gallery, is always underneath the bed. So this is where my work is stored when it's not showing. It's kind of makeshift, but when you live in a small place and you don't have a studio, it's just kind of the way things have to be. I'd always been interested in how people interact with technology, and the social aspects that I was interested in kind of coincided with these visual things that I was doing, developed into this connection and isolation that technology brings us. So down here, this is kind of where I show my work when I have people over, so I kind of lay it out, pull this stuff out from underneath the bed. So this is my first body of work. It was titled The Illuminati, and it was my undergrad thesis work. Consists of 10 pieces. It's gotten around now. It's in a couple museum collections. It's been published fairly thoroughly through Europe and some places in the US. Each piece is 30 by 40 inches, and it's face mounted to a 1/4 inch piece of plexiglass. The initial reason that they were mounted on Plex was I had an old first generation iPod, and it actually had a clear piece of maybe plexiglass, some sort of resin over the top of it. And since the subject matter was dealing with youth and technology is so glossy and kind of shiny and slippery and candy colored, I felt that the Plex really kind of related to that. I never really had this experience when I was young inside this technology, but I think that not growing up with it in my hand all the time, I think it gave me a little bit of a perspective from the outside. On these long drives that I would take down through southern Minnesota, there were lots of farms that were just lit up, and usually I was driving in the late night, and there were kind of these little islands, these little pieces of light scattered throughout the countryside. I began to notice that same type of effect with people, the same way the light would reach out and kind of just touch the people that were so close to it, but that it never really extended beyond that.
Well, they say, it's progress. They say, it's true.
So the Illuminati, the work is paradoxical in the fact that it kind of has this subject matter that's both connected and it's both isolated at the same time. The light that they're kind of bathed in, it kind of gives the viewer this impression that maybe they're gleaning something, or that they're being, I use the term illuminated, as in, you are receiving some sort of information, you're making some sort of connection that's not very tangible. And at the same time, it's such an isolating practice because it's something that really you have to do alone, and then you interact with the screen alone. You don't interact with it with a group of people. The images, both they have this beautiful light that makes you think that there's this grace to these devices, and at the same time, then you have they're completely surrounded by this darkness and this cold isolation. I always want the viewer to leave thinking about something. I want them to be thinking. That's really the hope for any work that I make, is that the viewer takes something away from it. The viewer takes something with them from the experience that they have with your work.